Kevin Sidebottom here, speaker, author, and trainer, and I go around and teach sales organizations and leadership teams how to grow trust and influence with their customers and their team members to drive more revenues and higher profits. Today, let's talk about you and how you can be a top sales performer. What does that mean to be a top sales performer? Does that mean you want all the accolades, you want awards? Do you want to be the top guy who makes the most amount of money? What does that look like for you? That's what you first have to identify. What does that look like to being the top performer? Once you identify that, now you know how you can plan to make sure you're going to hit that mark. Always need to work backwards from our goal. What does that mean? Do we need to grow our market share by 50% or 20%? What does that look like to us? Now, when I was younger, I actually would do those little mazes where you had to move through and find out how to get to the path to the finish without getting stuck in all those little areas that can bog you down. What I found is when you start at the finish, you can actually see the line to the start easier. You can find that path faster. So, just like our goals or what we want to be for the top sales performer, we need to start at the end and work our way back. Then we can figure out what we have to make every month, how many calls we need to make to be able to hit those monthly goals, how many daily things we need to do, and we'll set ourselves up for a plan of how we can do it. The second thing we need to do is make sure we have the right sales process employed. Yeah, that's right, sales process. One of those boring words called process. Everybody hates that word process, but here's the deal. A process is something that actually makes you efficient. You can move faster. Yeah, that's right. You can move faster with more efficiency. That makes you speed up. What happens when speed up? Well, profits go up, right? So, top performers, they use a process. How they work out, how they eat, and they do it over and over again. And that's why they have those 8-packs, right? That we all aspire to have. Same thing with Navy SEALs and everybody else. They have processes in place that they repeat over and over again. So when they're on the mission field, they're super successful. We need to make sure we have the right process in place, and we will be super successful. Now, your process needs to have the 5 buying decisions answered in the correct order, or else you're going to become a commodity. What happens when you become a commodity? Well, price is the only differentiating factor. And we need to make sure that we're showing our value so we can make the most profit possible. So if we're going to do something, make sure you have the right process. And you need to make sure you're answering the first buying decision correctly, which is us, you, me, all the salespeople. Now, to do that, we need to make sure that we're answering 3 questions to them on every interaction that they have about us. Do I like you? Do I trust you? And how can you help me? That's right. They're asking these questions. You're asking it of me. I ask it of you whenever I meet with you. That's been pre-programmed into us since the beginning. We're going out to kill an animal and drag it back to feed our families or harvest. We need to make sure that those are with us. We're going to help us. We need to be able to trust people. So if we can't build likability and trusting and we can't help the people, they're not buying from us. We're going to mess it up on the first buying decision and they're moving on. When's the last time you bought something from somebody you just absolutely could not stand? Probably never. So we need to make sure we're likable. And there's a lot that goes into it. The situation we're in, if we're in an environment that's noisy and there's lots of machinery or gunshots or whatever going off, anxieties are going to be up and they're not going to trust us as much. So we need to make sure that we're in the right settings. We also need to make sure we have the right color clothing on. When we're meeting with people that generate trust, the different kind of scents can actually affect anxiety and trigger people as well. So we need to make sure that we're doing all these things well, or else we're going to fail. We also need to make sure that we're focused in on them, not of killing a sale, but of cultivating a sale. That's right, kind of like farming. We need to think of it as farming. We need to cultivate the ground, plant the seed, water, fertilize, pull out those weeds so we can harvest a great harvest. We need to cultivate. That's probably why you sit there and look at some of the buyers that don't call you back. You can't understand why customers aren't responding to you because it needs to be more like farming, not hunting. I mean, when you're doing the hunting deal, you get one kill every once in a while, and you can live off it for a little while, but it's not consistent. When you farm it, you become more consistent, and you can eat longer and feed off it. So we need to make sure that we're doing everything right with cultivating our relationship with our customer. Now, we need to also make sure we're answering 3 types of questions. That's right. What's their situation? What is the issue? And what are the ramifications? If we're not getting answers to those and we're not asking the right questions, we're not going to be successful in providing the right solution for the customer. So we need to make sure that we're asking those right types of questions. That all begins at the first buying decision. Yep, that's right. There's a lot of work in that first buying decision. And that's what I teach in the house analogy and how you interact with people, how you work your CRM, and how you really get this one solidified so that way there's likability and trust and that you're focused in on helping people. You do that, you're going to be rewarded with the sale. So let's focus in on making sure we have the right process in place and follow through. Because if we serve the customer well, they're going to reward us with the business. And if we make them successful, they're going to tell everybody else about it. It's kind of like the last time you went to this fantastic restaurant and had a great experience. You couldn't help but tell anybody. Well, your customers will become your salespeople. And now think of that big harvest that you had, and it goes 10 times, 20 times bigger because they're out selling for you. All right? So let's make sure we have the right process. If you have any questions about setting up the right process, contact me below. My information's down there. If this video is helpful, hit like, share, subscribe, send it to somebody you think it might benefit. That's why I do these videos, is to help you. We'll see you next time.